Long ago, in the heart of the African continent, there was a powerful kingdom called Zamunda. The land was full of green hills, tall baobab trees, and rivers that sparkled like diamonds in the sun. The people of Zamunda were proud and strong. They danced to the beat of drums, sang songs that carried through the wind, and told stories by firelight. Zamunda was ruled by King Oba, a tall man with a booming voice and a beard as grey as the mountain mist. He had 3 sons and 1 daughter. His daughter's name was Ijele. Princess Ijele was unlike any other royal daughter in the lands around Zamunda. She was fat, proudly so. Her body was full, round, and soft like ripe mangoes. Her cheeks were plump, and her arms strong. She wore brightly colored wrappers that hugged her shape, and strings of beads that clinked as she walked. Her laughter was deep and joyful, it echoed through the palace halls like music. Her heart was big too. She helped old women carry firewood and gave food to hungry children without being asked. But not everyone saw her beauty. You see, in Zamunda and the kingdoms nearby, people believed that a princess must be slim, gentle, and quiet. They said beauty meant small waist, soft voices, and light steps. Ijele was none of that. She spoke boldly, walked proudly, and took up space wherever she went. When Ijele turned 18, King Oba declared it was time for her to marry. He invited princes and warriors from all across the land to come and meet her. But when the suitors saw Ijele, many turned away. "She's too fat," whispered one prince. "She'll crush the royal horse," laughed another. "She eats too much." "Look at her arms," said a warrior from the north. Some did not even hide their laughter. They came, saw, and left. Princess Ijele heard every word. She smiled in front of the guests, but behind closed doors, her eyes stung with tears. She had always loved who she was, but now even her own people whispered. Maybe she should fast for a few days, her aunt suggested. She could wear tighter clothes to look smaller, another said. Even King Oba began to look at her with disappointment. "Ijele, maybe if you slim down just a little, just to look like the others." Ijele said nothing. But inside her, something had started to stir, a quiet flame, small but hot. She was not ashamed of her size. She had been happy. Why did they want her to change? And more importantly, if a man could not love her as she was, did she want him at all? One evening, as the moon rose high and cast silver light across the palace, Ijele stood on the balcony. She looked out across the dark hills and sighed. Somewhere deep in her spirit, she knew her journey was not to beg for love, but to become something greater than what the world expected of her. As the days passed, more suitors came and went. Some stayed long enough to taste the royal jollof rice and palm wine, but none stayed for Ijele. The royal court grew restless. Whispers filled the air like flies over a market stall. Has any man chosen her yet? Not even one. She is cursed, maybe. At night, Ijele cried quietly into her pillow. By day, she walked tall and smiled. But it was becoming harder to pretend. Even the palace guards avoided meeting her eyes. The women in the market, who once praised her beauty, now shook their heads when she passed. But it wasn't just about marriage. Since Ijele was the only daughter of King Oba, people had expected her to make an alliance, marrying a prince or warrior from another land to strengthen Zamunda. Now, with every suitor who rejected her, the kingdom's hopes grew thinner. King Oba began to lose patience. One morning, after yet another nobleman left without a proposal, the king called a meeting in the great hall. Ijele sat beside her father, wrapped in a rich purple wrapper, her hair threaded with golden beads. "Ijele," he said, not unkindly, "you are a good daughter. But this cannot continue. We have given you time. We have been patient. But your stubbornness may cost this kingdom its peace." "Stubbornness?" Ijele asked quietly, keeping her voice calm. "For refusing to shrink into someone I'm not." You could try, the king said. Just try. Ijele's heart cracked, but her face stayed calm. Father, I will not starve myself for love. I am not a goat to be fattened or thinned. The room went silent. Later that day, Ijele sat in the palace garden, staring at the pond. Her reflection shimmered on the water, round, soft, glowing. She didn't hate what she saw. She never had. But she hated how the world saw her. A soft voice broke her thoughts. My princess, your heart is heavy. It was Mama Nkechi, the oldest woman in the palace. Her back was bent like a bow, and her hands trembled, but her eyes were sharp. Yes, Ijele whispered. No one wants me. The old woman chuckled. That's a lie. You don't know your power yet. Go to the forest. Ijele turned to her. The forest. Yes. The sacred forest. Beyond the river. Speak to the spirit of Nana Olori. She sees what others do not. Ijele frowned. That's just an old tale. Mama Nkechi leaned in. And yet the truth hides in tales. You've been searching for love from others. Maybe it's time you found yourself. That night, while the palace slept, Ijele packed a small bag, water, roasted plantains, ground nuts, and a red scarf her mother once gave her. She tied it around her head, took a walking stick, and slipped through the garden gate. The moon lit her path, and the stars blinked like curious eyes. She walked past the fields, past the river, and toward the dark line of trees in the distance. When she reached the edge of the forest, the wind shifted. It grew cooler, quieter. The trees whispered. Still, Ijele stepped forward. The sacred forest was thick, its floor covered in leaves. Strange birds sang songs she didn't understand. A monkey watched her from a branch. A snake slithered across her path, but did not strike. She walked deeper. Hours passed, maybe days. Time felt strange inside the forest. She grew hungry. Tired. Her feet hurt. But she did not turn back. Then, one morning, she came to a clearing. In the center was a giant baobab tree, its roots twisting like the arms of old gods. Beneath it sat a woman with silver hair that touched the ground and skin as dark as night. Her eyes were white, with no pupils. You came, the woman said. Ijele froze. Are you Nana Olori? I am. And you are finally ready. Ijele stood still, unsure if she should bow, speak, or run. The woman under the baobab tree was unlike anyone she had ever seen. Her presence was not loud, but it filled the air like thick perfume. Powerful. Ancient. Nana Olori looked at her and smiled gently. You have questions, my child. I came because I don't understand why no one wants me, Ijele said. Her voice cracked, but she didn't hide her pain. They say I'm too fat. Too loud. Too much. Nana Olori rose slowly, her silver hair dragging behind her like a royal cloak. She walked around Ijele in a slow circle, humming a tune that felt older than time. Do you know who you are, Ijele? She asked. I am Princess of Zamunda. No, the spirit said, waving a hand. That is your title. Not your truth. Ijele was silent. Nana Olori touched Ijele's forehead with a cool finger. In a flash, the trees swirled around them. Suddenly, Ijele was no longer in the clearing. She stood in a wide open field filled with mirrors. Tall, curved, broken, shining, mirrors of every kind. Each one showed a different version of her, slim, angry, sad, laughing, running, hiding. One showed her as a baby. Another as an old woman. Some versions were beautiful in the way the world wanted. Others were monstrous. What is this? Ijele whispered. Yourselves. The ones you could become. The ones others see. The ones you hide. The ones you haven't met yet. She turned slowly, watching her reflections change. I don't want to be anyone else, Ijele said. I want to be me. Then claim yourself. Nana Olori snapped her fingers. The mirrors shattered into 1,000 tiny pieces. The wind picked them up, swirling them around Ijele like a storm. The shards glowed, then melted into her skin like warm rain. She felt something shift deep inside her, like a rope snapping loose from a heavy stone. She gasped. Then she laughed, a real, wild, belly-deep laugh. It felt like freedom. Nana Olori nodded. You have taken back your truth. You are not just a fat princess. You are a force. You are more than their eyes can see. But what do I do now? Ijele asked. Return, Nana Olori said. Walk your path. But walk it in your full power. You will not need to beg for love. Let love find you where you stand. Ijele bowed her head. When she looked up again, the clearing was empty. The spirit was gone. Only the great baobab tree remained. She turned and began the long journey home. This time, her steps were lighter. The forest no longer felt strange. The birds' songs made her smile. Even the wind seemed to sing with her. She walked out of the sacred forest not as the girl who had entered, but as a woman who had seen herself and accepted all of it. When Ijele reached the gate of Zamunda, the guards gasped. Not because she was thinner, she was not. Not because she wore jewels, she wore none. But her eyes glowed like fire, and her presence was sharp like thunder before the rain. The people stared as she passed. Some whispered. Some bowed. She entered the palace without a word and walked straight into the throne room, where King Oba sat with his council. My daughter, the king asked, rising from his seat. You've returned. Ijele smiled. Yes, father. But I have not come back to beg for love. I've come to give this kingdom what it needs. The king looked confused. What do you mean? I will not wait for a prince to claim me. I will not shrink myself to be chosen. I am ready to lead. Not as someone's wife, but as a queen in my own right. The room fell silent. One of the chiefs laughed nervously. A queen. You are not married. Ijele turned to him. And yet, none of your sons could match my strength. Another council member spoke, but tradition. Tradition is not law, she said firmly. Our ancestors bent the earth with their hands. Do you think they were afraid of change? The king studied her. He saw the same face he had known since she was a baby, but it was different now, stronger, clearer. Like a stone that had been polished by time and fire. Very well, King Oba said at last. Let the people decide. The next day, a royal drum was beaten across Zamunda. A gathering was called. Ijele stood in the center of the market square, dressed simply but proudly. She told her story, of rejection, of the forest, of Nana Olori, and of her choice to walk in her truth. The crowd listened. Some nodded. Some wept. And when King Oba asked, who among you will follow Princess Ijele as queen? Hands rose. First a few. Then many. Then the whole crowd roared. From that moment, Ijele's name echoed through the kingdom, not as the fat princess no one wanted, but as Queen Ijele the Unshaken.